Hi guys, my name is Prerna and I'm back again with another episode. And welcome to our channel AI Learn Circle, where every episode we try to cover a founder, a great entrepreneur, someone who can really educate us into the AI space and how things are moving forward. So today we have a very special guest with us, and okay, I think you might be knowing him. So let us introduce. We have the founder of Dodo Payments with us. So over to you. Hello, Rishabh. Thank you first of all so much for joining.
Hi Prerna, thank you for having me.
What will do is we'll just ask you a quick round of questions from what we have understood people would want to know from you, your journey. And today by the way, had a great insightful session as well. So thank you so much for that. So to start with, if you want to give like a quick intro about yourself or anything that you would want to share with the people who are watching the video.
Hello everyone, I'm Rishabh. I'm one of the founders of Dodo Payments. Dodo is essentially a monetization platform where we help AI native builders monetize their products very effectively in a very global environment.
Okay, thank you so much. And it's so great, firstly, just out of the topic, to have something built out of India in terms of payments and fintech space, because that's, something that we wholly depend on other platforms. So congratulations and thank you for that, by the way. Dodo directly competes with Stripe, Paddle and Lemon Squeezy, companies with billions in funding and years of market trust. When you're pitching a founder in Bangalore or Jakarta, what's the moment they stop asking why not just use Stripe and start actually listening? So what makes the difference?
So first of all, in my opinion, if there is not large company in your space, the space itself is not large enough. So the fact that there are companies with billions and dollars of revenue funding is a very positive signal. Secondly, I think for us, we are very clear on who our customer is. We are building for AI native builders. That's a very recent phenomena over the past 2 years. All of these companies were built like 10-15 years ago, and now the competition is, can we build fast or can they adapt fast enough? I'm fairly confident we'll build faster, and that's why I'm building this.
Thank you so much. That's I think in the session also we had a feedback that the conviction that you mentioned while building is really, really strong, and I think that's really important for people who are building to have the conviction and the very clear strategy of why and what they are building. So that is a very important takeaway for all of us. I want to ask, merchant of record is a model that takes on tax compliance and fraud liability on behalf of the merchant. That's a massive legal and operational surface area for early stage company. What made you confident enough to take that in?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question. Like, I don't think a lot of people understand. Like, the core risk of Dodo Payments or any merchant of record is merchant underwriting. Are we able to onboard the right merchants or not? It's been a very long journey, longer than I thought, but I think we've kind of solved for it. We've solved it by two ways: just getting a lot of industry experts who can do it better than me. We've also productized it a lot with AI agents, so AI agents do a lot of work. And thirdly is just internal conviction, right? I don't mind getting into the weeds of a lot of these things. A lot of the compliance efforts, fraud efforts, I actually enjoy. So it's just a lot of founder market fit as well.
That's quite insightful. Okay, moving on to the next part. So you spent time at Wise and Prodigy Finance early in your career. So both companies obsessed with making basically cross-border money movement feel invisible. So what did working outside these companies teach you that helped you into your building process of Dodo Payments? And what did you think about people in terms of global learning? How does it impact?
Yeah, I think one of the most interesting things that I learned from these companies is you don't need to technically move money to make cross border for it to be international transactions. So how Wise works is that it has money pools everywhere, and you can be in US sending money to India. So Wise can just collect money in US and then remit it out in India instantly within seconds. And then there might also be a person sending from India to US, and then at the end of the day or end of the settlement time, it just nets off, right? So the greatest trick when it comes to international payments is converting into a local payment.
Got it. Interesting. So most global payments infrastructure is built basically by the West, is what we have observed, and for the West as well, and then bolted into markets into India, Southeast Asia, and Latin America. You are flipping that completely, and congratulations firstly on that. What does payments infrastructure actually look like when you build in emerging India markets from day one, and what are the probable challenges that you faced, which you would also maybe give some suggestions people who are wanting to build something on the similar space?
So the way, and they could not get credit cards, but with acceleration of tech, the governments figure out, okay, can we build out an alternate rail, and they came up with a lot of local payment methods. So just like India's UPI, every country has a popular payment method, which would arguably doing a good enough job. I know we love UPI, but others are also doing pretty decent. So, Pix as an example, it does more dollar volume per year than UPI. Every Southeast Asian market has now, I think, more multiple payment methods that work well. So the biggest challenge is like if you're building for the West, US, UK, Europe, like Australia, etc. If you just build card rails, you're good. You have very deep penetration. But if you're building for emerging markets, you're making sure settlements happen smoothly. Every payment method has a slight nuance that gets annoying. So it just the more permutations you have, the more challenges come up, and that's kind of what Dodo is abstracting by bringing everything into one single integration.
Got it. What would you advise people who are building India first products, like in terms of compliances or in terms of legalities? How is it? Is it something they should? Because in terms of monetization, a lot of times we hear that US is a better paying market. So should we focus on that, or how to go about that, or should we keep the conviction high as it to make an India first product itself?
So it really varies. My usual advice is to go build for the US market, but I've seen people buck that advice and do a great job in India. I would say that any software product, if you're selling to businesses, you will find majority of the business in the US that are like phenomenally large to spend on it. So it's just a function of market dynamics, and like US companies also work at better cross margins, so they have more freedom to spend on experimental stuff. That is why B2B US works better. US executives who are making the decisions also more attuned to new things that are happening in the market, and then they will understand and value your product better than probably folks in the emerging markets. So that's probably A. I think in B2C, consumers are driven by Maslow's hierarchy. So like a lot of folks in emerging markets still solving for like a lower levels of Maslow's hierarchy, and that's why even if you have high incomes, you're not willing to splurge it on new experimental stuff as an early adopter, but you will find a lot of that in the US. So if you're launching or building something new, you want early adopters who are willing to pay you, just as a function. Even if tomorrow like the per capita income of US and India became same, just because US has solved for a lot of infrastructure, etc., they will have more disposable income, and it's a disposable income that you're chasing.
Got it. Makes sense. At the end of the day, as you mentioned, revenue is the first metric that we should be looking out for that matters. Okay, so payments is a business built almost entirely on trust, and trust basically take years to build. So you are asking indie hackers and SaaS founders in emerging markets to route real revenue through a company basically that's just less than 2 years old from a critical point of view. So what's the hardest truth objection that you have faced from a potential customer in that aspect when they would be comparing probably to an organization which is more established in terms of years?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very common objection, right? Like, Stripe has been here for years. Like, what if you tomorrow belly up? What happens to me? But look, my argument is very simple. It's all about how you frame it. Yes, I mean, you have WorldPay, which actually does more payment volume than anybody else. Nobody's heard of it. It's like a 7-year-old company. PayPal still does more volume than Stripe. But Stripe, they grow, right? You had PayU, which was going really well, and raise up his skill crew. I think the framing is for this specific ICP, how long have we been here and how long others have been. Our ICPs, indie hackers, early stage builders are sitting on top of Claude Cursor, and what a very AI native payments and billing product. In that framing, Dodo has been there the longest, and that's why we are the best.
Definitely. One thing I'm definitely taking away from your sessions is the conviction part. It's something I think as indie hackers or AI founders or AI builders in India, we do lack a bit. We're always questioning ourselves, and we have a loop of questioning ourselves a lot, which I have observed. So I think having that strong conviction of what you're building, why you're building, and having a clarity on that makes a lot of sense. I want to know, like, as a merchant of record, Dodo legally owns the transaction, which means when something goes wrong, a chargeback, a fraud spike, or a regulatory flaw in the new market, it's basically your problem, not the merchant's. So, how has there been where there's a liability basically related to that? How do you guys deal with that?
Yeah, so that's a very good question. So we do more than just payments. We take on a lot of the compliance burden, which is why we're able to command a premium. Now, there have been like a couple of instances where people like launched something, it wasn't of high quality, so they got a lot of chargebacks, and they just can get more customers, and we had to absorb those costs on our books. But yeah, I mean that's just cost of doing business.
So, something that is it something that should be taken into account when at the start of the journey, or is it something to be absorbed while we are into the process?
You mean absorbing these costs? No, you need to be very clear what you're building for. So we were always clear we are building payments plus plus. As of today, one plus is billing, other plus is compliance. And yeah, it also meant that we're solving a lot of things which otherwise people would require to hire multiple tax attorneys globally, and that becomes expensive. And we can charge a premium for it, and effectively we turn out cheaper for them. But that's true for others as well. Like there are many instances, or in fact actually if I was a merchant on Stripe and I had like a lot of chargebacks, so losses would still be borne by Stripe. So it's just a very intrinsic behavior of payments as a business.
Got it. Something to take into account while we are building to understand what are the costs that might occur.
Yeah, actually I have a good example here. Like a lot of AI products that you'll build, you'll need like AI tokens to deliver value, and you'll find that some of your customers don't like the outcome or just claim not to like the outcome and will demand a refund. And sometimes it's just easier to refund rather than getting go back and forth. So you have to account with some leakages.
And I think this routes back to a question about trust as well, because that is what creates the trust as well for people who are looking forward to solutions that if something goes wrong, we know we can trust Dodo Payments and they will look after us in case something does not go right for us. So that's really nice. You just shipped a stablecoin pay at a time when most companies are just still watching from the sidelines. There's either a visionary move or it's a distraction for a company that hasn't been beaten any other company in the core market probably. So which is honesty? How do you know about that? How do you look into that?
Actually, it's neither. So the US came up with the Genius and Clarity Act, which gives a lot of clarity on what is stablecoins and how it will be used, what are the regulations around it. We are very clear, we are not averse to any of this. We just want to deal in a very stable regulatory environment. We saw that the Genius and Clarity Act had been there for over 12 months. There has been no regulatory pushback. I think this was a Trump act, so we were concerned that maybe when the courts or like the opposing parties or etc. might come in. It has been a unanimous agreement from the US. So when we do stables, we do settlement only into USDC, USD, whatever the USD currencies in stables and into our US account. We don't do any payouts in any other currencies in any other country. So it's a fairly contained product. We're not trying to be visionary. It's just an extension of what is allowed to us in a regulatory framework, and we're taking the full maximum benefit of it.
That's really nice. I would want to understand with the current AI movements, things coming up, Fable came and then it was pulled back, and so many tools, developments we see every day. So what is the next step, that a vision that you have for Dodo Payments? Any specific things that we could look out for?
I think on day zero, we were a payments product. Then we added payments plus compliance, then we added billing. Now I think over time, we expect us to own more of the financial/revenue stack, and then we are in a journey to figure out how can we reimagine that for you.
We are looking forward to that now that a lot of people are depending on Dodo Payments. So coming back to the point, I think a lot of users would want to know why Dodo. I know you explained it to us, but I would want you to answer that onto the video. How did the name come up, and why is it called Dodo Payments?
So why Dodo as a name, or why should they use Dodo?
Why Dodo as a name?
Why Dodo as a name? I was telling people again and again that distribution matters more, and which means your brand, your taste matters a lot. Dodo is a name that we feel is fairly understood globally. We are building a global product from day zero, so I didn't want names that could be misunderstood or feel alien for certain cultures. I think also like two syllabi that repeat are just easy to remember. I've rarely met someone who forgot where I work once I told them, because Dodo is hard. Also, good marketing puns, right? So like, yeah, we can have a lot of fun around it.
Creates the curiosity. The first thing, why Dodo?
Yeah.
And definitely why Dodo, I can help a bit answer that. It's super easy to use. There's no too many like people who are indie hackers or solopreneurs specifically. It's super easy to use. I think that would be the best way. And something from India, you can reach out, you know how things are working, because depending on the other West platforms has become very complicated for us. So I think, yeah, why not? I would say for Dodo. Any message that you would want to give to the people who are watching it? Probably it would be people who are building as solopreneurs or working as AI product builders, or they are looking forward to build something related to the AI industry and would want to get your insights. Anything specific message that you would want to share to them that could be helpful for them and for our users?
Yeah, so AI has radically dropped the cost of building something. So is the stuff before and after building that matters more. So spending more time figuring out, is it the right space to build, is it the right problem statement, and secondly, like, just make sure you get actual users. So is the stuff before and after building that matters more. So spending more time figuring out, is it the right space to build, is it the right problem statement, and secondly, like, just make sure you get actual users. It's very easy to get lost in our own world.
Thank you so much. I think that's all we have for today. We wanted to keep it short, and thank you so much for the video. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your insights in our session as well. It was really helpful, and it's really inspiring to see something coming out of India so beautifully done, and so actually solving a problem that was existing. And yeah, I mean, thank you so much for coming. It is really great. If you guys have any questions, please put into the comment section. We'll try and answer them. And hopefully, we'll do another round of interview with you soon. And thank you so much once again for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.